Hey everybody, today we're making one of my favorite holiday classic cookies, Pizzelle's. And let me say this, if this is your Pizzelle, okay, and it's flopping around like this and you can bend it like that, something's wrong, okay? Something's wrong with this Pizzelle. Now, my wife, she wouldn't let me talk about where we got this Pizzelle, but I can say that I was less than impressed. So, I called my mother, I says, Ma, I'm going to do a Pizzelle episode, and of course I'm going to make the classic Anise Pizzelle. I says, but so many people want that gluten-free recipe. I said, so I need the gluten-free recipe. My mother, she makes the best gluten-free Pizzelles for my daughter Angelina, who's got celiac disease. And if she didn't tell you that they were gluten-free, you would never know. They're unbelievable. So she's giving me all the ingredients, and we get to the flour, and she says, well, it's really not 1-to-1. She goes, you got to start with a half a cup less than the regular flour. She goes, but you might have to add it. She goes, it varies. I go, what do you mean it varies? It varies on what? It's the temperature, the atmosphere, what? And my mother, she goes right to the slap. God love her. She says, Kenny, don't make me slap you. Sorry, Ma. So it varies. You know, my mother gave me very specific instructions. She says, listen, she goes, you have to be able to roll it off the spoon with your finger. She goes, but it can't be too thick. She goes, it can't be too liquidy. Pour it in. She goes, it won't get crisp. She goes, it's got to be right. So, it's got to be right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything ready behind me, and we're going to go over all the ingredients you need to make a fantastic gluten-free Pizzelle. Alright everybody, this is what I use for gluten-free flour. It's a red mill, it's 1-to-1. It's the best flour that I found for baking gluten-free. But like my mother said, it's not truly 1-to-1. You can't take a recipe that calls for a cup of regular flour and add a cup of this. It just won't be right. This is a little denser. It's got potato starch, it's got tapioca flour, rice flour. It ends up being a little bit more dense than your regular all-purpose flour. So you have to take that into consideration when you're using gluten-free. Okay, and I'm going to go over all the ingredients. 3 eggs. A half a cup of canola oil, a half a cup of sugar, and that right there, that's 2 teaspoons of vanilla and 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Now, let me say this. I'm not sure if all you know where imitation vanilla comes from, but it comes from a beaver's ass, okay? Buy yourself some real vanilla, okay? Not imitation vanilla. If you don't believe me, Google it. Because I did. I saw it one day and someone said, Google where it comes from. And I looked down and it basically said a beaver's ass. Okay? So, buy yourself some real vanilla, please. 2 teaspoons of real vanilla, 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Now, this is our first cup. 1 cup of the gluten-free flour. And this is a half a cup that we're going to use to get our consistency right. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add the oil to the eggs. I'm going to add the sugar, and I'm going to add the vanilla and almond. Okay, get every drop of that goodness in there. Alright, and now, here we go. So, I'm going to mix this very, very well, and when I come back, we'll be adding that first cup of flour. So, now that we're well incorporated here, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to add the cup of the gluten-free flour. Alright. And we'll fold that in. Nice. Make sure you scrape your sides. Get all that dry flour off of there. So, as you can see, that's a little too liquidy. So we're going to start with, I don't know, a little bit. Maybe a half of that, 1/4 cup. See where that brings us. I'm gonna go just a little more. I think that's good right there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this aside, and I'm gonna get my Pizzelle iron plugged in, and when we come back, we're gonna be making Pizzelles. Okay everyone, we're ready. And what I did was, when I went to my mother's house, I says, Ma, it'd be great if I could use your pizzelle iron. I have my own pizzelle iron, okay? It has the plates that come out, they flip over, you can make waffles. When you close it, it's got the nice clip, it locks it down. Well, my mother's, I says, Ma, how old is this? She goes, well, your grandmother, meaning my father's mother, bought that for me before we got married. And this Columbus Day would have been 50 years they would have been married. So this pizzelle maker, it's at least 50 years old, okay? And I says, you know, mine has the non-stick plates. And I says, Ma, do I have to spray it with anything? Like, she goes, no. She goes, it doesn't stick. She goes, you just don't clean it. I went, ever? I go, have you never cleaned it ever? And you know, this time, my mother didn't even threaten with the slap. She just gave me the look of the slap. And I'm sure a lot of you know the look of the slap. And she looked up at me, didn't have to say a word. I went, all right, just give me the pizzelle maker. Thank you, Mom. So I avoided that slap, but you know, I got the look of the slap. So this is a good setup. All right, towel under your pizzelle maker, because this one, it drips off. It drips off, you know, you might get batter, a little liquid. And also have a towel here for your fingers, because like I said, your dough, you're gonna end up giving it a little bit of help to get on there, right? And you know, you gotta get just a little more on that one. Okay, now, you gotta come down, and like I said, this one, you gotta squeeze. And you can see it popping out, a little juice dropping off there. Now, newer pizzelle makers, they have a clip, right? That's what the towel's for, see it? Get that right off your hands. Unfortunately, this is like one of those grips, you know that the hand exercise of the grip. This is basically a 2-in-1. It's a pizzelle maker and it's a hand exerciser, because you have to stand here and hold this, old school. And you know, Mom, I'm not used to your pizzelle maker. How long? She says, well, it depends how dark you like them. She goes, if you don't like them that dark, it's not that long. She goes, if you like them darker, it's a little longer. Good, thanks, Mom. That's a lot of help. So, I normally start, you know, come over here with the fork and, you know, get your little extra off. And I'll start looking at about, I don't know, 1:30. Oh, 90 seconds in, that's where I'll start checking. But, you know, don't be afraid. You can always pick it up. Oh, give it a look. You like it? Put it back down. That's it. Alright, and you know, that's where I like mine, right there. Alright, oh, nice and thin. Right onto the rack to cool. Don't worry about that excess. We'll break that off later. And then, here we go. We start again. Okay, well, we're waiting for this next batch. As you can see, within a few seconds, these things, they turn to concrete. And then you take the little edges off, and of course these, they're the bonus. Alright? Your extra off. There you go. And on the plate. There we go. Alright? Oh. You know, but making pizzelles, you might gain a pound or two. Okay. Now, when I come back, what I'm going to show you is how to make pizzelle cannoli shells and pizzelle cups for desserts. We'll be right back. Alright everyone, watch this. These things are very flexible for the first few seconds, okay? Take it, roll it up, just like a cutter. Hey, they're hot too. Don't burn yourself. And put it right on the fold so it sits like that. Take the second one and get your glass, and you only have a few seconds, like I said. They turn to concrete. And they're hot too. Hoo-hoo! Don't want to burn yourself. Whoa. Okay. We're going to let that cool right there. And off to our next round we go. So, guys, cannoli shell. And like I said, 15 seconds, these things turn to concrete. This is never losing this shape. You can fill this with whatever you want. Pizzelle cannoli shell. Now, the pizzelle bowl. You can put ice cream in this, you can put pudding, you can put fresh fruit, you can put whatever you want. Fantastic. Like I said, concrete. It's never going to lose this shape. Okay, another few seconds on those. And when I come back, we're going to be wrapping all this up, and then I'm going to make the classic Anise Pizzelle. Nice. So, now that our gluten-frees are done, we're going to make our traditional Anise Pizzelles. And basically, here we are. We're starting all over again, alright? Basically the same ingredients, 3 eggs, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of canola oil, 2 teaspoons of anise oil. Now, my mother said to me, don't buy the crap. She says, go to Pocari's in the North End, buy the real anise oil. That's the good stuff. So, today, we're making the good stuff. And now we have just regular all-purpose flour. 1.5 cups and 1/2 cup for thickening. Where the gluten-free was 1 cup and 1.5 cups, this is already 1.5 cups with an extra 1/2 cup. Okay? So, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Sugar, oil, anise oil, and we're going to whisk this up good. Okay? So give me a minute and we'll be back. So, now that that's good and whisked, we're going to start with our 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And we're going to fold that in. Now, guys, let me say this. I'm not going to bore you with having you watch me make another batch of pizzelles. These are basically going to be made the same way the gluten-free were made. You can certainly mold them if you want, make some cannoli shells, some cups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this to the right texture. I'm going to make all these pizzelles, and when I come back, we're going to do a little something special before I give you that final product. So, I'm going to make this other batch of pizzelles. I just want to let everybody know I did not use any of the 1/2 cup. That 1.5 cups of flour to those ingredients was just what I needed, so I put that 1/2 cup back, so you can plan on just 1.5 cups of regular flour. So, I'm going to make this batch, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, here we are. Gluten-free to my left, anise to my right. And what I have here is I have a little Ghirardelli milk chocolate melted, and what I like to do is I'll take a cup, right? Get myself a little, get your drizzle, and I'll give it a little drizzle right on the wax paper. Nice, look at that, beautiful. Then what I'll do is I'll take the cannoli, I'll give it a dip, oh, and the milk chocolate, nice. I'll let that cool, and then I'll even take a pizzelle, and I'll just give it a little corner, just like that. Alright, I give it a little corner just like that. The kids love that. So, I'm going to clean all this up, and when I come back, I'm going to give you that final product. Alright folks, here it is, the final product. Here's your pizzelle bowl, nice, with your whipped cream, cherry on top. Of course, your pizzelle cannoli, nice, dipped in chocolate. And your pizzelle. Brings me back to my childhood. For 48 years, we've had these cookies every holiday season. They're delicious. Make those gluten-free pizzelles. Give them to people. Don't tell them they're gluten-free. I guarantee you they won't know, and when they find out, they'll be amazed at how good they are. Delicious. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please click that like button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and until the next time, don't forget to live, laugh, and cook Italian. So good.